Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman for this Friday, August 20th, 2021, and we are here back for another show. This is episode 121, and we are calling this one, Is It Time for Manny to Pack It In? Yes, welcome everyone that's out there to another Friday night chop session with Stormybman, and we're going to talk about the fights that are on the horizon for this weekend and maybe a little other news that's in the sport of boxing, and just overall chop it up as we get prepared again for another hopefully exciting weekend of boxing. Want to take a moment out to acknowledge everybody that's out there in the chat. We have people who were here just before I went live, but the earliest person I could see out there in the chat would be Sister and Queen Tay Brown out there. She says, Stormy B Man, the quiet storm. Salute to you, sister. Good to see you in here early for the chop session. And she's greeting some other people out there. Big homie Coop is out there. Says, salute Seafood Stormy B Man. Back smack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention. JC channel members out there saying salute to Tay. And Big homie Coop was grooving to the tunes that Stormy had playing before he went live there. Yeah, I like to try to play a little intro and have things going like that to give people a chance to get those notifications, because some people say they don't get those notifications in a timely manner when you're going live. That's why I always put the reminders out on the community page, try to give you a heads up with that, keep you informed. That's right. And let's see who else we got out there. We have a few more. General Squirrels is out there, says, chopping it this evening, Stormy. Yes, sir. Rashid Rourke is out there, says, peace, my brother, the wise man at Stormy B Man, and peace to everyone. DJ Zion Love is out there saying, salute to you. And Big homie Coop says the greatest intro of all time. Well, I just try. Listen, man, there's nothing, like looking at Muhammad Ali's shadow box, man. That dude, just poetry in motion, isn't he? Wasn't he? He was just simply a marvel to look at. And he was so, rhythmic and everything. Ali was ahead of his time. The man, you know what I mean? The greatest of all time. So, yeah, anytime you can take a moment out and put the champ to some music like that and just watch him shadow box or move around the ring or throw combinations or something like that, it's amazing just to witness. And Big homie Coop says, it's Friday night, get live. That's right. JC is out there saying, smooth intro, sensei. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Renee Box Young is out there, says, salute. Stormy B, OG, yes, sir. And he's saluting everybody else that's out there. And we're going to get right on down into some paying the bills because, I have to do that as well. Reminding everybody that's out there that Stormy B Man does have merchandise, okay? And then in the description box for every show and every bit of content that I put up, we have links. And you could click on that link and it'll take you right over to the Streamlabs store where you can either donate to the channel if you don't feel like following suit through the Cash App or Super Chat. You can donate through there. And salute to my man Bruce Goes, the brother out there, the OG, decided to become a channel member. Thank you for that. Joining the channel, Bruce Goes. I really appreciate your support, my man. You're always out here and we hope to do good things for the channel members. We have some things in mind on the horizon, so there'll be special perks for the channel members as we go forward. So welcome, Bruce Goes, to being a member of the channel. Salute to you. Renee Box Young, that alert right there is particularly loud. It's to sound that there's a new member. So I tried adjusting that one, and I can't even get that one to get any lower. But I like the fact that it's a different alert. I know exactly and specifically what that particular alert is. So channel members, whenever you become a member, that's the sound that you will hear. Sorry about it being a little bit loud. I may change it down the line, but right now it's to keep you on your toes, keep you woke, huh? But yeah, over there at the Streamlabs merchandise, you can get yourself an assortment of items. We have things like these coffee mugs here with Stormybman's logo on it for those who like to drink their morning Java or put their other special beverage in that mug when people thinking you have an early morning coffee and you might be having a Black Russian. You understand? So you can do that and have yourself a nice drink in the Stormybman coffee mug. Then we also have the baseball caps. Excuse me. And Brother Bruce Goes was one of the first people to purchase one of the hats, and he told me he was very pleased with his product once he received it. So salute to Bruce Goes for supporting the channel and the brand. And that's what we try to do, is have something nice out there. The logos are nice, and they now come in an assortment of colors, including a very nice camouflage, which is pretty different, but I like it all the same. We also have, for people who are on the go, the Stormybman backpacks. The backpacks are made by the company Champion, who makes sporting goods and sporting sportswear. Has a Stormybman logo on it, and this is a very nice pickup for those who don't like carrying briefcases and whatnot, and fanny bags like some of you guys been guilty of being caught wearing. Yes. And then for those who just like to carry their papers or little trinkets, whatever, you're going to work in the morning or whatever, these backpacks are pretty nice and they're sturdy. They come in a couple of different colors. You can get you one of those. And then also we have, of course, the Stormybman packable rain jacket, which is also like a windbreaker. These jackets are nice. They were originally in a gold color, but we now have 3 colors that is very nice. The black is the second color, and then there's something like almost like a silver. These jackets they call them packables because when you take them off, that zipper that goes across the center, you can roll the jacket up, put it inside, and carry it almost like an umbrella. So, that's something nice. Got the Stormybman logo on there, and I have one. It's very nice, and we have some extra sizes on that as well. So for the big brothers out there, Stormy got you covered on that. Then one of my personal favorites is the hoodie, which was originally only in black, but we now have that in several other colors, and that's the Stormybman logo on there. And this hoodie also has the the hand warmer type pockets on it. So if you're outside on a cool fall day, autumn day or something like that, or you're going out for your morning run or something like that, put that bad boy on and you're good to go. All right. And then also lastly, we have the Stormybman tees. Now the tees, they are a little bit more popular. The tees have been flying off the shelves. People are finding that they like them. I've heard very positive comments on the texture of the material of the tees. So don't be ashamed to get you one of these. Get you a couple of them because they come in the same colors that the hoodies now come in. So you have several colors to choose from. Black is my favorite. It really shows off that gold lettering for the logo and emblem. So we got that going right there. So yeah, those are some of the items that we have currently in the Stormybman store. So go on, stop by there, get you one of those, or get you a couple of different things and be all set in your Stormybman gear. Also, don't forget, Stormy is a, excuse me, I got something on my desk here. Stormybman is an official spokesperson for the Black Gentleman Grooming Company, an ambassador, if you will, and this is a company that provides very nice products, handcrafted. They are lotions, deodorants, colognes, hair, skin oils. Listen, great products over here by the people at the Black Gentleman Grooming Company. I have tried out several other items and have not been let down yet. Very good things over there. And if you enter the code StormyBman, you get 10% off of a purchase with the Black Gentleman Grooming Company. So go on over there, get you something, and tell them StormyBman sent you. So welcome, everybody. We've got that out of the way, and we're ready to talk a little bit of boxing this evening. And I hope to be joined by my brother, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. I see him out there pulling double duty in the chat. We got Andrew Charles, who's joined us. He says, salute Stormybman, salute to you. DP Rocker is out there. He says, what's good? And we got also Kevin Dunbar. He says, salute Sensei Stormybman, salute to you. Thrill Hill has joined as well, says, salute Stormy B and family, salute to you. And who else we got there? Sylvestrial is out there, says, Stormy, salute. Salute to you, Sylvestrial. And we got Divine Sense Reborn, also known as Divine Sense Boxing, out there. And he says, at Stormy B, man, we in here. He says, told you I wouldn't miss it. He says, looking forward to Saturday. In the eye of the storm. Yes, sir. And for those of you who are looking for more content, tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Central Time, Divine Sense Boxing / Reborn will be joining me for a new segment of In the Eye of the Storm. We haven't done an In the Eye of the Storm in a while on the channel, so what better time than to come back with a brother who had been away for a while, and that's Divine Sense. He was out there way before Stormy got started, and I was able to snatch him up. Salute to Drew Titan for helping us come together so we can introduce this brother to the Stormybman brand of things, and he has elected to join me for tomorrow morning's show, and we hope to have a great one as we present Divine Sense Reborn / Boxing out there to you, the listening audience. And In the Eye of the Storm is a special type show. We like to get that show going. We got Bernard Burton out there in that super chat. Salute to you, Bernard Burton. He says, salute Stormy in chat. He says, blessings to Kurt Sugar. Been under the weather myself. Most love, family. Salute to you, Bernard Burton, and we appreciate your well wishes for the brother Kurt Sugar, because he is still under the weather himself, and we are hoping for a total recovery for Kurt and bringing him back so we can have him back amongst the family to share his knowledge and wisdom. But yes, thank you all the same, Bernard Burton. We really appreciate you, bro. Yeah, so everyone knows that tomorrow night on the horizon we have Manny Pacquiao as he tries to take on Yordenis Ugas to reclaim his WBA welterweight title that was pretty much stripped from Manny due to he being inactive. And will this be a case of the type of showdown that should have taken place, you know, when Manny was the WBA champion and Ugas was chasing a title opportunity? Or will this be a sense of correction by the boxing gods that Manny didn't deserve the belt because he was so inactive. And then when he gets in there with Ugas will prove himself to be the man who was capable of turning back a challenge from Manny. We will see. That's why we have to tune in. They have to fight the fight in the ring so we could see what's going down. It's a shame that the original match was supposed to be the fight between Manny Pacquiao challenging unified champion Earl Spence Jr., and Earl had to pull out of the fight just recently due to he having an eye injury. And that's quite unfortunate because it was very close to the fight. We've seen so many things happen with the fights as of late, and it's kind of disheartening when you see that these fighters who train and go through their camps and try to put things together only to have things come up that's sometimes beyond their control, and the fight get called off or a new opponent has to step in because of an injury or something like that. But it's one of the reasons why we also push for these fights to be made when they're hot. You know what I mean? Because when you don't put the fights together when they're hot, hey man, anything can happen. And we've seen now a couple of times that in the misfortunes for Earl, something has come up and become a stumbling block, getting in the way of what he wants to do with his career. Salute to the sister Diana Branch out there. She says, to the wise man, Sensei, Stormy B, salute. Salute to you, Queen. We will really appreciate you with your donation in the super chat. It's nice to see you out there. I met you out here in the chats on other channels, and it's great to see that you've decided to come over and check out the Stormy B Man brand. We welcome you, and we hope that we continue to provide you with content that'll help have you keep coming back. So welcome, sister, and thank you once again for your donation. My man PGH Big Dog is out there, says salute Stormy B Man, salute to you. And Eric Jenkins, channel member, is out there. He says Stormy B Man in chat, salute to Eric Jenkins. As far as the members on the channel, that's definitely growing exponentially, and I really appreciate those who have decided to invest in becoming members of the channel. It shows a solidarity there, and it also encourages me to produce the type of content that'll keep you coming back, but also to come up with ideas for exclusives for you guys. So I am working on a number of things, and if you hold fast, Stormy will be presenting you with those quite soon. Some of it will be just content that I might normally do as an open live or something like that, but I'll make it available to my channel members first. So make sure that when you see those reminders that come out on the community page, that you check when it says members only, because if it says members only, if you're just a subscriber, I'm sorry, you won't get that content right away. You'll get it released later, but the exclusives will always go to the members first. That's how that'll work, okay? So just explaining what that is, and hope that it helps the channel's growth. So, but yeah, talking about, excuse me, this fight for tomorrow night, we'll get more into this in detail as the show goes on, because I'll save some of that conversation for boxing conversations with Reggie Owens when he joins up with me momentarily. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and excuse me, I have to take a quick drink. My throat is dry. Sorry about that. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was what's happening with these people over at DAZN, okay? DAZN, I hear, and I don't have full disclosure on this, and maybe Reggie, when he joins up, he can elaborate, but I hear that DAZN will be pulling its promotion out of the U.S., which is kind of interesting, seeing that they have several U.S. fighters. This is something that should definitely spark some comments from boxing fans. Remember, they asked people to sign up for their app and everything. So if they want to pull themselves out of the Americas, then that means that, people here, the fighters that we want to see. It's like, you mean to tell us that the few of them that you have signed, that we can't see those fights? We can't. I mean, it's really an interesting thing. And they came over insulting from the beginning and stamping and trampling over what little bit of respect may have been there when they arrived. So DAZN has done some things now that has caused people to really have a legitimate complaint against them. They have fighters over there that they have overpaid, and bouts that they have put on that have under-delivered. You know what I'm saying? And that's total facts right there. I want to say salute to my man, General Squirrels, out there in the super chat. He says, Stormy, did you say you had a members only, or did I mishear? Yeah, this on the channel, General Squirrels, on the front page, there's a join button where you can become a member of Stormyman's channel. And there are 4 levels there, and you can try it out, see what you like, and as we begin to have more and more exclusives, you'll notice that that is directed toward the members. So yes, and there are badges, there are emojis for the members that they can use. And I haven't seen anyone use any of the emojis yet, but there's some interesting ones. Some of them are a couple of kung fu heads. So when you start to use them, it'll be quite interesting. And I appreciate that because I haven't seen any pop up in the chat yet. But yes, General Squirrels, Stormybman does have memberships now. So, and that's been a while. We have about 30 members on the channel so far, and for me, that's pretty good. I see L-Dub Boxing out there. He says, what's good? What's good with you, L-Dub? Good to see you this Friday evening, brother. Andrew Charles is out there, says, what does that mean, though? They not going to show American fights? That's a very interesting question, Andrew Charles. And when Reggie comes on, I hope we get a chance to explore that, because I really would like to know what that means. I know that they don't release any of their content that is broadcast over their airwaves, but this is a thing where I don't know if it means that the fights now won't be broadcast in the U.S. I need more data, but I did hear early on that they are pulling out of the USA. So, we're going to find out exactly what this is, and then we'll be able to really direct our focuses where it needs to go. General Squirrels back in that super chat. Salute to you, brother. He says, you don't have an OnlyFans, do you? No, man. That's, Stormy a OG, man. I don't need all of that kind of stuff there. The join button and the membership for the channel is just for those who support us here and want to see the exclusives that, Stormybman have to offer and all of that. But that other stuff, man, that's for the young folks and other people who have a deep-seated interest in other directions outside. I keep it boxing and a little bit of kung fu over here. You guys can do all that other stuff somewhere else, man. And I ain't hating on you. I'm just saying that it ain't for me. Okay, so don't get it twisted up. Stormy ain't doing all that wild stuff, man. Andrew Charles says, I feel like I'm getting ripped. They're not going to show Canelo and Plant on DAZN. Canelo fights are one of their main selling points to even subscribe to them. Yeah, I agree with that, Andrew Charles. That's why I said we're going to have to explore this and see exactly what's up, because we had something else on this to look at as well when you talk about them pulling out of the Americas, because a couple of our, good fighters are over there, and one of them is Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade was one of the names that they signed up a couple years ago. I think it's been, 3 years ago? Maybe 4, because time passes very quickly. But Andre's been over there, and they've been feeding him a mishmash of, sub-quality opponents, and they haven't looked to profile him. And even when they did bring bigger names and bigger challenges over there to be in the mix with him, they never offered him those bouts, which speaks volumes. And those men were overpaid and given stock in the company and everything. We're talking about Canelo Alvarez, who was tremendously overpaid. Mikey Garcia, who was tremendously overpaid after going over there for one fight. After losing to Earl Spence, Mikey went over there and was able to secure quite a nice payday for fighting on that app. And he didn't have to fight hard either. And then we're talking about, of course, Triple G, who was offered stock in the company and definitely a path of least resistance where he doesn't have to fight any severe challenges. I mean, come on. How much more can you give guys who are so undeserving in this particular time? When you see the way that they've done, it's a wonder that the company is still working. You understand? Because they've just thrown good money after bad, and they have not delivered on quality matchups at the championship level. Canelo was able to fight over there for, I forget how many million he fought, Rocky Fielding. And I mean, come on, Rocky Fielding, as soon as he got hit on the hip or something, he took a knee. Billy Joe Saunders sat on the stool and quit. That guy Callum Smith, what did he do? Nothing. And this is what they done. They've paid this man multiple millions to have these performances that were quite lackluster, and just basically backing up the truck and loading it up with the bags of money. And I think he was wearing a mask when he was driving the truck, because that's exactly what he did. He robbed them. And Triple G is robbing them with inactivity and still getting paid and ain't trying to fight anyone. It's really disrespectful for the guys who have really grinded it out in the sport. And L-Dub can tell you that there are a number of fighters out here who are more deserving of the paydays that have come to these guys. Man, come on. It's ridiculous. And salute to the brother JC, channel member out there. I see you out there, man, with that emotion badge. He's got the Bruce Lee emotion badge out there. Appreciate you putting that up. I now know what it looks like when I see it out there in the chat. But salute all the same, brother. I appreciate that. General Squirrels is laughing and cracking up with JC. Mr. Pac-Man 216 says, salute, big dog. Salute to you. TS Boxing, my man, Tyrone is out there. He says, don't talk about Rocky Fielding like that. He's a warrior. You mean worrier. He says, DAZN has burned investors earlier than most. Hey, man, it's a wonder that they're still around. I'm telling you, with all the money they've thrown out, it's amazing. Andrew says, I feel like if you paid the $100 subscription, you should get the Canelo Plant fight. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the deal with the Canelo contracted bouts and how they're gonna be aired, but listen, man, it seems like the sport just allows certain individuals to do whatever they please, how they please, when and where they please, and to who they please, and they don't do or say anything or hold these gentlemen accountable. But you let certain other popular, prominent fighters try that, and oh man, you hear the media talking and everything. It's ridiculous. Um, but again, Stormy talks about the bias and prejudice that exists in the sport. These are the things that I talk about all the time, and you're seeing more and more of it. I mean, look at Triple G. The guy is 39 years old, I believe, but his last effort, he looked like he was 45, huh? And he ain't trying to get in there with anybody that's decent. And I didn't even say good. I said decent, because his last bout, he struggled. And the bout before that against Sergey Deverenchenko, a lot of people felt he lost that fight. So it's like, come on, man. It's time. I thought at first they were trying to hold him up for Jaime Munguia, but the way it looks, it's like if Munguia did want to face Triple G, Triple G is of the notion of turning a fight like that down. Oh, he's too good. That seems to be his MO. If somebody is the least bit good, Triple G ain't trying to fight him. He wants to fight armless warriors, who got broken ankles. That's what he wants to fight. That means you got to stand in front of him with no guard, and you can't move away, And he could just hit you like a bag in the gym. That's what he wants. He doesn't want anything to represent the semblance of a fighter, And he's been that way for years. For years. L-Dub says, DAZN will announce U.S. shows for September 18th, Mikey Garcia, October 16th, Estrada versus Gonzalez 3. Now, that fight right there, thank you for that, L-Dub. I told you, man, L-Dub is on it. The brother is out there grinding. He keeps that information flowing down the pipeline, and we really appreciate the work that he does, at least definitely here on the Stormybman channel. Salute to L-Dub Boxing. He says that that Estrada versus Gonzalez 3, that's going to be a good fight. But I'm just hoping that Gonzalez still has something, because I kind of felt like they took that second fight away from him. He boxed enough to win a decision in that fight, as far as my recollections, and his performance was, warranted of a fighter who fought with a lot of spirit. TS Boxing is saying, L-Dub, do you think is going to be Garcia's opponent? Who do you think going to be Garcia's opponent? I guess he's talking about Mikey Garcia. And salute to the brother and family member Curtis Anderson, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar, out there. He says, salute, family. Salute to you, Kurt, man. Good to see you out there, brother. Good to see you out there. Everybody give a warm welcome to Kurt Sugar out there. Still send the brother positive vibes and let him know that you're thinking about him and that you want him to recover. That's our brother there, Kurt Sugar. Yeah, if DAZN is having those cards, as L-Dub said, they're going to have to show those fights in America, because I don't think anybody outside the U.S. is going to care about Mikey Garcia. You know what I mean? They really won't. So they're going to have to show that over here. It's just amazing the lack of consideration and the choices that these guys have made. Been so disrespectful to the fighters of current, era, how they've come out, that whole transatlantic comment and all of that, utter foolishness, man. JC is saluting Kurt. And Jay Gibson is out there, says, salute to Stormybman and the family. Salute to you. Brooklyn Born has joined and says, salute to the sensei and salute to the historian. Get well, he says. And L-Dub is saluting Kurt as well. Yes, sir. You guys show Kurt as much love as you can because he needs all of you guys' prayers and support at this time. He's trying to recover, but it's a tough haul for Kurt. So at this time, for him to even be in the chat with us, it's a wonderful blessing to have him here. So please don't hesitate to show Kurt that love. And Kurt, if you want to put your Cash App link in the chat, you can feel free to do that. That's in case anybody want to send Kurt some love. You know, it doesn't hurt to do that. We want our brother to feel that love from everybody. So that's only if you want to do that, Kurt, but you can. You're more than welcome to put your Cash App link in the chat and see if family can send you something. And if you guys choose to do that, that's between you and Kurt. You know, I don't have to see that or anything like that. So, but we just want the brother to be in great spirit while he's going through. Yeah, so the Zone, they're going to have to show some of these fights on U.S. airwaves. But I don't know what that really means. And L-Dub is out there. L-Dub, would you, I don't know, you might be a little busy. I know that sometimes Fridays are not good for you. But if you wanted to pop on for a moment to kind of give us an idea what that means, that the Zone pulling out of the U.S., how that may work as far as their broadcast, and definitely how it will work for the fighters. Because as I mentioned a moment ago, we got fighters like Demetrius Andrade out there. And then we also have the brother Devin Haney, who's been out there. And though Devin Haney is a free agent pretty much, he has had his last few bouts on the Zone. So what's going to happen with that? You know what I mean? We just don't know. And we need to know these things. We need to get these type of answers. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Charles is saying peace and blessings to Kurt. And Kurt is responding, I love each and every one of you. Yes, sir. Thrill Hill is out there saying, Curtis Anderson, salute, looking to from our own our own boxing encyclopedia. Be well. Yes, sir. That man is a voluminous well of information when it comes to the sport of boxing. I tell you guys all the time, tap into those veins. There's some history and anecdotes that you would really appreciate if you took the time out to listen to Kurt, what he had to say and share. Also, Scrapbook Boxing. The two of those brothers. Tremendous. But yeah, man, it's when we talk about the Zone, have we had anything positive to say about this company? Everything has come with drama, and I don't mean heightened drama like, you know, to keep you on the edge or something that has been disgusting. You know what I mean? It's like I just don't like the overall vibe. And the fighters are paying the price. It's a shame because we look to spend our dollars on these matches when we have cards that you pay for and things of that, and an app and all of that. But when they show such disrespect and irregard, come on, man. It's kind of tough. It just makes you want to throw it all down. Salute to my brother, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, who has come into the building. What's going on with you, Reggie? How you doing this Friday evening? Welcome to the show, bro.
Yes, sir, man. Doing good, man. I can't complain, not one bit.
Yeah. So, Reggie, I take it that you have heard about the I take it that you have heard about the threat of the zone deciding to pull out of the U.S. Have you not?
No, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. What we were contemplating here is, does this mean that they're pulling the broadcast out along with fighters they've signed up? I don't have enough detail on that, but I heard it like in the past 48 hours. That's when it came to my ears. But I hadn't had enough time to really look into that. And somebody in the chat had mentioned it, and I was talking about, we got fighters over there like Devin Haney, Demetrius Andrade, who signed on with these guys looking to do some things, and they have been underwhelmingly received over there, and the app hasn't done much to promote them or anything. But with other fighters, they've received lucrative paydays. I mean, from Canelo Alvarez to Mikey Garcia to Triple G, who also has an investment in the company, in stock in the company. And you see these guys, living the life after signing up with DAZN. But what about these other fighters that I just mentioned who are not on the receiving end of such consideration? And there's an obvious bias here. You can see the prejudice, man. And for people who want to try to talk about there's no racism in boxing, dude, they show you at every waking turn that there's racism in boxing. And they actually make the chalk line thick as hell to make sure that you see that there is separation. What are your thoughts, Reggie?
And as far as this DAZN thing,
yeah, as far as the where you could see the where it's not leveled, how there's inconsistency. Like when you talk about fighters like Canelo and Mikey Garcia and Triple G, who've been able to go over there and make huge sums of money fighting little to no opposition. And then you see fighters like Devin Haney and Demetrius Andrade go over there, and they can't even get matches. You understand? And it's like they weren't even offered the same type of bags.
Yeah. My thoughts on that is there's an importance to why Al Heyman is needed in this industry. And that's just basically how I put it. I see people have, ignorance in how they view. A lot of times when I hear people who say negative things about Al Heyman, it just points to the slave mindedness of black folks, period. They see a black man, they draw an unnecessary criticism, unwarranted criticism of a guy who's so necessary for the sport, so necessary for the black fighter, so necessary for fighters, period. You ain't even got to do a race for this guy. But I see people say a lot of their little ignorant, slavish type ill bullcrap about the dude and what the PBC is. PBC has become an importance to the industry of boxing, and with leveraging things for black fighters. But also on the other side of things, you get black fighters who come with that same level of ignorance, who don't understand the importance and the roles that they play as well. Because there's a role to play for black fighters. And what's his name? AB has been one of those guys that has highlighted in detail that. And it's a guy who doesn't understand that position he was held in, to where he doesn't do anything to change that whole dynamic of racism. A lot of these black fighters are put in positions of taking control. People gonna always hate. They can be as racist as they want. But as long as you stand in a position to continuously run over them like a dang Mack truck, their words are just words and they mean nothing. But when they can spew those words and you do everything, backpedal, every single step of progress has been made, I mean, with the hell with it. But my thing is, a bigot can talk bigot crap all they want. Fans, media, other promoters or whatnot. But as long as you continue on to press and do what you're doing, their words, their attempts don't mean ish. And that's just my view. My thing is how I speak on racism. My thing is to run through it. It's to put a mash on it, talk big ish about it, because I don't fear rednecks or punks like that. I think too many of these, not even just saying white folks, too many black folks who fear bigots, and they other things to do is to target folks who look like them. But my thing is, with that, it's the importance to why Al Heyman is in this industry of boxing. And it's an importance that these fighters begin to understand when he puts you in a position of where you need to go. And it's an importance of some fighters understanding. Some people don't like touching on racism. I mean, that's understood. But don't come into where when you do attempt to speak on racism, you only speak it from a point where you're only drawing down on people who look like you. But that's my point on it.
Well, I guess I should also be a little more specific when I'm talking about, like, I gave the example between, you got three guys in Canelo, Triple G, and Mikey Garcia, who went over there for a one-time deal, but he was paid quite handsomely. It was like somewhere between $7 to $8 million or something like that to fight a soft touch. You know, now people complained about Amir Khan getting $7 million from Top Rank when he fought Terrence Crawford, and that was robbing the bank. But when we've seen good quality fighters go over there like Demetrius Andrade and Devin Haney, they weren't awarded the type of bags that those three guys were, and they weren't offered any stock in the company or anything, and they were not offered avenues of being protected, like with franchise positions in the sport and stuff like that, when a couple of those guys on that side were. And when you look at it overall, the only difference that I see is that those guys that didn't receive those considerations happen to be black. The guys that didn't and received stock offering and, you know, extra padding on the wallet, they're not black. And now they want to talk about pulling out of the U.S. when they came over here trying to sign black fighters, because that's who they went with first. Remember, they was like AB. I think AB was the very first guy they came at or something like that, trying to throw some money at him. But AB remained steadfast and turned them down flat, which I'm glad he did. But when you look at everything that has happened, we're seeing them just kind of strip the sport with all of these, and it's hard for me to even call a term for it, but it's like they've created so much confusion, Reggie, that you don't know where to put your focus, but you know it's something wrong here. And that finger pointing goes pretty quickly. And, you know, boxing has tried to make Al Heyman a villain for helping those black fighters become self-incorporated as an advisor to these guys, to teach them how to be their own promoters and how to manage their funds that they bring in as fighters, and also how to reinvest in their own corporations and things of that nature. That's a solid investment within itself to be able to have those type of options. Excuse me. Your boxing career may be short, but your income and revenue generation will be long term with what Al Heyman has set up for these guys. So it's like, no, he's not bad for boxing at all. He's great for fighters, if fighters are smart enough to listen. It's amazing that some guys are still not buying into it because they're taught to not even support their own. You know, you just heard me say in the opening of this show this evening you know, being an ambassador for the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company, when I do my shows that is just basically profiling myself, like the Tuesday Tussle and this show here, I promote that, you know. When I'm on with the other brothers, I don't do that because it's like, okay, if they don't support that or whatever, that's fine. But the thing about it is reinvesting. It's like you showing support, but you got people out here being condemning to what Al Heyman has done for people, and they've even benefited from what Al Heyman has done for people. So it's like the mentality, the psychological effects of things, and being always pushed to the side or being made a non-factor, it has crept into the DNA, and people can't even think straight when it comes to this kind of thing. So it's like I don't like that filth of the sport, but it exists, and you have to deal with it. You have to talk about it because it's right there in front of you. You know, Demetrius Andrade is a good boxer. He could possibly be even a great boxer, but they not putting him in with guys who will show that or not. You know what I mean? They're not giving him those matches that will say, wow, he is what we thought he is, or he's not and he doesn't measure up. They don't even want to take the risk or gamble with that. And I think that's something wrong. Canelo has gone through several weight classes since joining up with DAZN, and Demetrius Andrade has always been right there in the midst of it, and he has not even looked his way. And when he disrespectfully said to him at that press conference after the Billy Joe fight, you know, oh, I know you want payday, I want you, all of that, and telling him to get out of here and all of that. Listen, man, when you question who has Demetrius Andrade fought, we question who have you fought. I mean, the guy that you were in there with, Billy Joe, he could have fought Demetrius Andrade a couple years back, avoided that happily. And then you talk about guys like Rocky Fielding and the guy Callum Smith and all of them. Would people have rather seen him fight Demetrius Andrade? Of course they would, especially the followers of the sport. But no, that's too much like a flip of the coin. It's no guarantee that you'd win or lose, but the thing is that it's a guaranteed quality matchup at the end of the day, which is most important. And if you're going to make a payday, that's the type of opponent you need to be making it against. Why are we seeing these guys get paid double figures and millions and stuff for fighting people that we know that they can wash? And then these apps like DAZN throw money hand over foot, and you know, making these guys super wealthy for not doing anything. You're playing with my intelligence when you put that out there, and then you want to call somebody pound for pound. You want to try to put them as the face of boxing. They're the ass of boxing, the rear end. Because that's basically what they give you, and that's what they telling you to kiss. Huh? I mean, what else you got on it, Reggie?
I mean, these fighters just have to blaze their own path, man, and they have to. The thing that separates with Andrade, and the reason why his situation is sad is, and once again, is what these guys don't realize and what the opportunities they could have set for themselves. That's like you can give someone $100 million. You give that to them and you see what they do with it. And a lot of these fighters you can give that to. You can give these opportunities and they'll blow it in a month. And that's basically what they've done with their careers. They've been presented opportunities to do things with their careers. And the way they blow this money is fans would be like the accounts of savings. To be able to save this money will be just the little things they can do for the fans. That can be the account that stores this $100 million. And rather than storing this savings with his fans, they blow it elsewhere. And going outside of their fan base and people look like them, they run out to the casinos. They put it all on one number and blow it. And that's basically what folks like Andrade have done to their careers. Is a fan base is everything. Like you were speaking about what Eddie Hearn has done to throw money at the Mikey Garcias and this and that. And the reason why he can do it is because of fan bases and what they'll go out to spend on money. And especially when you're dealing with fan bases of fighters who dealing with like fan bases come out of Mexico. Mexico just supports people. They don't know quality fights. They just see a fighter who stands out amongst the rest of the class over there, and they stick with those guys, and that's who they run with. And it's the national pride, it's the racial and heritage type pride with them, and they'll spend the money behind that. And these promoters see it. Now, if Andrade and folks like that aren't running to their fans, being engaging with their fans, it's hard to find anything in return with them. And that's why they don't get these opportunities. They have to start understanding this business side. The business side ain't just going in negotiations talking about, I want this and no, I ain't going to take that. Well, you have to. You got nothing to support behind that. Yeah, you may get to where you fighting a particular type of fighter, and yeah, black fans are going to track over there to want to watch you fight that particular guy. But what happens post that fight? You come out victorious. And that's like even with some people become champions. Just because you become a champion don't turn you into a superstar, especially when you're not engaging. And that's the problem with a lot of these dudes. Mike Tyson wouldn't have been what he was if he didn't have a promoter who was as engaging as the Don King. If Tyson would have been under Bob Arum, what would Mike Tyson be? Nobody. But it takes people who are engaging, who add that appeal and attraction. These promoters of today don't do that. And that's one of the factors that has ate up Andrade's career and why Canelo can speak to him the way he was. If Andrade had been more engaging with his fan base and those who look like him, things would have worked out better for him. And Bud is also running down that path as well. But that's my thoughts with that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I want to take a moment to go back to the chat for a moment. We got my man, Scrapbook Boxing is out there. He's saying, Stormy, what's good, brother? He said, the spirits are up. Prayers for our brother. Yes, sir. He's saluting you as well, Reggie. He says, great conversation. JC is saluting Scrapbook. And Watcher has joined us. He says, salute. Salute to you, Watcher. Good to see you back, man. And we also have Bruce Goals, who joined us out there, channel member. He says, salute to Stormybman. Salute to you, Bruce. Mark Booker, my brother. He says, salute my shy brother and one of the realest. Salute to you as well. And Jay Gibson says 100. And MPWTF is out there saying, also, why Porter can't get paid like the other two fighters Bud fought. Listen, man, that's what I'm talking about. And I hadn't even got over there to talk about Porter yet. But since my man MP wanted to mention that, Reggie, I did have that on the agenda to speak on this evening as well, talking about Showtime, Sean Porter, and Bud Crawford, man. What are your thoughts about this fight? And as easy as it is to make fights, Reggie, and how we've seen, bouts get put together quickly and things like that. For some reason, man, this fight is like not that they're taking the time. Remember when they announced the possibility of this fight because the WBO mandated or whatever, they had 30 days, right? Well, it's been over that before it goes to a purse bid, but it seems like they're really dragging their heels when it comes to this fight. Somebody between these two men don't want this fight. And that's what I think. But let me hear your thoughts on it, Reggie, and we can talk about this in detail if you like.
Yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'm doing something downstairs real quick.
Okay. But I'll keep it going until you're ready. My thoughts on this is that somebody between these two men don't want the fight, or somebody over these two men doesn't want to fight, and it probably is Bob Arum. You know, Bud is at the end of this contract with Top Rank. So Bob is going to do whatever he can to make things very difficult for Bud Crawford. It's Bud's fault that he wasn't wise enough to get away from this situation a few years ago before he had re-upped. Now he's in what you can be considered the twilight of a boxing career, and though he may still be at the top of his game, he could slip off at any time. But this also speaks about business, and though he may have secured a certain amount of wealth that would allow himself the comforts that he short-sightedly saw for himself, had he not re-upped with Bob, he would have had a greater leverage, and he would have also had greater opportunity, because under Bob with only the WBO, he's very limited. There are not many fighters at welterweight that he could select to fight, because most of the welterweights are over there with PBC. Now, when you look at it, Bud, yeah, short-sightedly, he was okay. He's done himself well where he's going to take care of his family, you know, for a few generations, and that's okay. But had he gone a different route and become more independent, he may have learned how to make what he has accomplished economically even longer, a longer span of enjoyment and fulfillment. That's what he's missing out on. And you hate to see a guy that's old in the sport of boxing trying to come back to make $1. I think that with the way Bob has played things out, he's taken that leverage that Bud had off the table from Bud. That public disgracing and saying the things that he said, it has assisted with he not now having very favorable light. And we know he's a good fighter, regardless of who he's fought and who he hasn't fought. He's a good fighter. But with Bob's doing, he's really turned that inside out. That people don't even consider that anymore. It's just like, oh, Bud, whatever. He doesn't do this. He's that, you know, he's not in touch with his fan base. He's not this. He's not that. Listen, it's all bad at the end of the day when you can't get a deal done. You pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the sport, but ain't nobody touching you. Ain't nobody, and when we say nobody, we're talking about the top guys, the top names in the sport. Nobody's touching you. Because you saw Mikey Garcia, one of the more recent fighters who was with Top Rank. He sat out almost 2 years to get rid of his contract with Bob Arum. And he did that a few years ago. So Mikey, who I think is probably in Bud's peer group as far as age-wise, he got out of that a few years ago. But Mikey still, his career was stalled. And that's because he had a belt that he had to give up. Now, Bud don't want to give up the WBO belt. Hey, listen, you know what? Belts are there to be won and lost. You could pick a belt up when you walk around the corner. Is one laying on the ground? And if it's not, Mauricio Suleiman will make one for you when you walk around the very next corner. It'll be one there for you to pick up. So it's like, this is not something that it was impossible. It's just that no one got through the man's thick skull to help him understand. And I'll tell you something else. I'm going to say this, and it's probably the first time you hear me say it, but other people need to pick this mantle up too. If Bomac is managing Bud, he's doing a horrible job. If Bomac is his manager, if he's hanging his hat on what Bomac says, like, that's a bad deal for you, I don't think you should do this, you should do that, you should stay right here, or whatever. If that be the real lining, then he's doing Bud a disservice, because Bud was one of the most talented fighters out there and did not need top rank like that after becoming the name in the sport that he had become. We've seen champions vacate belts. Larry Holmes was a WBC champion, and he threw that belt down and became the IBF champion and never missed a beat. He was still considered the lineal heavyweight champion of the world up until the time he lost to Michael Spinks. But Bud could have done something similar. But now at this stage, you might as well stay where you are, because the man has stifled your career enough by not putting you in there against your contemporaries and refusing to pay them. And that's robbing you of your legacy and your brand. Wisen up. I see you're back, Reggie. Come on in with something.
Yeah, I was going to say, agree with what you're saying. I think the hang-up is Bob Arum. And I think Bob Arum plays this game with certain fighters to where it's convenient that, this low risk, low reward, not wanting to pay what some fighters may demand as far as pay. Sean Porter may feel that his pay should be rated somewhere between what Bob paid Kell Brooks and Amir Khan. And Bob Arum, looking at it, he'll run with this common thing amongst fighters who aren't in the spotlight, some of the more well-known named fighters, and he'll try to run with that. Neither was Kell Brooks, neither was Amir Khan, even though they do come from the UK. And about the UK loyalty as far as fans' willingness to travel during those fights, the UK contention wasn't traveling over here like that for that. But what those fights were more of a higher percentage guaranteed victory for Terrence Crawford. It wasn't really like this is a high risk, low reward. It was just a low risk, and they paid a reward to these dudes to keep those belts over there. I think Bob, with this being personal, is the fact that he has this envious type mentality towards PBC fighters due to his jealousy of Al Heyman to be able to come in the game and outdo him. A black man that controls the game, has had significant power into earning money within the game. And that's the other reason why DAZN is leaving. A black man has defeated both of these clowns. But his thing is he doesn't want to see a belt go over there because there's a high possibility that Terrence Crawford can lose that fight against Sean Porter. Sean Porter's a bad dude. And he's seen that with Sean Porter in against Earl Spence, which is a fight that could have went either way if it wasn't for that knockdown. So it shows that Sean Porter is definitely a risky guy to be in there with, and definitely a risk of Terrence Crawford suffering that defeat, which ultimately will, not saying so much it'll take money off the table for the Earl Spence fight, it'll probably diminish what Bob Arum will take in. I don't think it'll diminish fans' interest. I think fans will still want to see it, but you know how they run this game now, that they want to see undefeated fighters in order to try to make fights. These fights are still highly touted fights, even if a person suffers a defeat. But these guys just got to make the fight. But Bob Arum's issue is he doesn't want to see Al Heyman one-up him, or Al Heyman fighter one-upping him. So he's not willing to put up the money that he should be putting up there. And now they're talking this purse bid stuff. So I'm hoping somebody comes in there and outbid Bob Arum, because Bob Arum loves to shortchange these fighters because he can give two damns about them. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yes, sir. And salute to the brother, Mike 202, channel member out there with his Cash App donation. Man, we appreciate you, Mike 202. Thank you for the donation, bro. And thank you for supporting the channel as you always do, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, Reggie. And what do you think? What do you think about what I suggested as far as Bomac's involvement? I think Bomac is on the take, because I do believe that they have the type of relationship and rapport between he and Bud from when Bud was a young man. There's a lot of trust there, but I don't know that Bud realizes that Bomac isn't making decisions in the best interests of him he's making decisions in the best interest of Bomac and to a smaller degree Bud. I really believe that. I don't know a lot about their business arrangements or anything, but you always know that there's a guy that can be hanging around that don't mean you the best, right? But he can appear to be a brother. He can appear to be down. He can appear to seemingly be working for you, but he's actually working against you. It's almost like they feel like that attachment that they have, it has to have a greater dividend for them, you know, and if Bomac was doing it the proper way, he would be, you know, pushing Bud toward the independence of things. If their relationship is that great and strong, they can be independent together. But I think he's got Bud in this situation, and Bob has played him. It's like when Mike Tyson ran into economic troubles with Bill Caton. Okay, well, Don King used the opportunity when Robin Givens and her mom came into Tyson's life and they caused disruption. And then Bill Caton was at odds because Jimmy Jacobs had passed away, and shortly after Cus D'Amato had passed away. So it's like Don saw an angle, and he used that for a mutual advantage. One, to align himself with Mike, but two, to align himself with Mike's money. You see? And it was that brother talk. But in this sense, because if Bomac is going to turn out talent, right, out of his gym, he's building it off of Bud. But if you have talent to work with, it's going to be, the talent will be there. That's a given. But the money, it's like, wow, Bud can go over there with some other people and become an incorporation, but I might not be able to, you know, suck the blood off of the corporation. But if I keep him over here, it's like we're co-hosts. I can continue to siphon off of this, you know, and be happy with that. That's that short-sightedness that I was speaking of. Do you understand what I'm saying or trying to say with that, Reggie?
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't think Bud, what's the name? Bomac is snaking Bud. I think the issue with them is Bomac's not a business-minded person. I think he's just someone who Bud trusts, who is able to go to the table with Bob. Both of them coming from poor backgrounds. Them hearing $1 million, they think they're doing something good. And then especially, what, 3 to 4 million guaranteed is a minimum. They think they're doing something good. So, but the problem is, what's the name? Crawford doesn't trust people. And that's background issues. He don't trust people. And I don't think he trusts to bring any financially smart person around his team to do the business side of things. He trusts Bomac, but Bomac's not a business-minded guy. Maybe he's learned the business side of things as he goes along, but I think they're shortchanging themselves, like you were saying. I think their independence, they would have found it more lucrative than signing a contract with somebody as penny pinching is Bob Arum. And Bob Arum has a history. That's the other side of things. A lot of these dudes don't pay attention to the history of things. And that's for most people in this dang country, man. Most people don't pay attention to the historic data that's collected on people, the historical behaviors of people. And Bob Arum is one of these textbook cases of historical transcripts that point to the side of him not being in the best of interests of fighters. But Bomac and them feel secure where they're at. I think they're fully afraid. Well, Bomac doesn't know what to really do in those business situations. He don't know how to play amongst the sharks because the business side of things is real sketchy, man. It's some real doggy dogs out there, and they're messing around with that, especially not trusting someone business savvy, because there's a risk to that because a lot of business savvy people or business experts, they will jerk you around. Some of them ain't worth the crap. Some of them are untrustworthy. But to get the most, they'll probably, even with the snakes that are out there, they probably could have guaranteed Bud probably 2 to 3 times more than what Bomac was able to get him. But it's just Bud doesn't trust anyone. I think that's where some of his faults are. But I think he's kind of content with what he's been able to pull in. It's more than what he comes from. $1 million takes him a long way. To get anything more than $1 million, he's super satisfied, super happy, when he could be probably making in the $10 to $20 million range if he ran his career, like you were saying, independent. But it's just that he trusts Bomac, but Bomac's not a business savvy dude. But I don't think Bomac's a snake in him or nothing. He's just not the business person.
Well, see, even in that, Reggie, that's like you hiring your boy to be your chauffeur, but he don't have a valid driver's license, okay? And the moment you get in a fender bender, you got problems now. Well, Bomac has guided Bud to a fender bender, and that was this second contract that where he re-upped with Top Rank. He was supposed to go away from these people to explore the possibilities because of where he was in the sport. He had a tremendous amount of leverage. He was pound for pound. He was the guy who had moved up from 140 as undisputed, and the heavens were opening up. Dude, by re-upping, that just shut everything down, and you saw he's lost all the momentum. He hasn't lost a fight, but it's like, look at who has swept in and taken up those opportunities because there was money on the table. Don King used to play a trick of offering fighters, if you had $1 million fight, just say amongst the heavyweights, you're Tim Witherspoon or somebody, you have $1 million fight. Don said, well, I can forward you $200,000 cash today. Well, for a guy that's hungry and starving, that $200,000 cash in the hand looks pretty doggone good. But the thing is, when you accept that, you might not even see the $2 million or the $1 million that you were supposed to get or whatever. And that's when that door slams on you like that. And that short-sightedness, these are the kind of things that, we talk about them, but again, because I don't like to talk the business aspect of boxing because it's so ugly. The more you recognize and realize about it, it just make you not want to deal with the sport at all. But we speak on these things because these guys, their careers are jammed up and they don't fight because of certain provisions. For all we know, that second contract that made Bud re-up with Top Rank says something like, if you want to leave, you have to fight, that WBO title within so many days or whatever, which could amount to a year and a half or whatever, but they'll say so many months or whatever. You have to fight for that. And if the fight don't take place within that time, it could go to purse bid. If it goes to purse bid, then I'll have the right to refuse you as a continued contract fighter, but I could have an option on your career and stuff. See, they start putting that rhetoric in those contracts like that. And a fighter like Bud might say, man, forget it. We'll just resign. I told you Mikey Garcia had to sit out a couple of years, and he was active. He was like championship caliber fighter, had been a champion and everything. But if you listen to Mikey talk about his experience with Bob, he said it was the best thing that he didn't like being on the shelf for 2 years. It was the best thing he could have done for his career. And when you have guys in that type of position that can speak that way about it, you're supposed to pay attention.
Yeah. And to be honest, Mikey's one of the more intelligent boxers that is out here. And he's also a guy that comes from boxing family.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
absolutely. That's why I mention it, because it's just like Floyd. Floyd came from a boxing family. And Mikey probably is the most talented of his boxing family, like Floyd was the most talented of his boxing family. And the similarities between Mikey and Floyd is they've maximized their earning power by becoming independent. Would you not agree with that?
Oh yeah, most definite. And and the other thing, they were willing to take the risk.
Right. And that's the point I'm trying to make. And you know, Roger probably told Floyd, hey man, do your thing, go independent, forget that Aram dude. He holding you back. And he was holding Floyd back. Look at how great Floyd was as a young fighter. And Bob was holding him back. Bob held Sugar Ray Leonard back. He held Oscar De La Hoya back. He held Floyd Mayweather back. There is a track record that this man has. And young fighters can fight and be put on television and everything. Remember, that's the thing, right? You're young. You on TV. Your homies can watch you. Your family can watch you. That's all fine. But is the money coming in now? The TV rights go to Bob in the Top Rank. But when you go independent, you can get all your money up front. You can get money off the back end of pay-per-view or the front end of pay-per-view if you happen to be the headliner. You get those 60-40s and the 80-20s, and then you start talking about, endorsements and commercials and this and that. And, when you wear something on your trunks, all of that advertise. Come on. Think about it. That happens when you go independent. And it makes a difference in the economics because you start to see money that you didn't see before. I heard you say, I don't know, it's been over the past 24, 48 hours. I was looking at one of your videos, and you said something like, Bob hates to see these young guys making money. He thinks that the money should go to the promoter and not to the fighters. I'm like, there you go. Boom. Mic drop. Because that's exactly, it's like, can you imagine, and this guy is 2,000 years old, right? Now, he worried about you making 50 cents, and he only wants you to make a dime. And by the time you take the check to the bank to deposit or whatever, he might be dead, huh? He's so old. But that's how when he walk, he squeak because his pocket's so tight, huh? Throwing nickels around like they manhole covers. It's like the man don't want to spend a damn dime. He's like a leprechaun. I want me gold, He don't want to pay nobody. And you think he just put you on TV, and that's the greatest thing. Remember the kid they grooming, Top Rank, Elvis, and what's the other young kid, the Latin kid? Because they got
Berlanga.
like three, huh?
Berlanga.
Berlanga, there you go. see, those guys are getting on TV, right? They get that television and they feel like, man, I'm big wig. You know, I'm on TV. Did you see my knockout last week? But where the money at, though? You see? That's the difference between what Al Heyman is doing for these guys. Al Heyman was advising celebrities before he got in the sport of boxing. There is a way that you can keep it in the family. And these guys are not doing that. They're not doing it. They're giving it up. In the meantime, they were telling you Don King was the worst person in boxing, right? Because of his contracts and his dealings. A lot of what he dealt with guys, there was their own mistake of dealing with him like that. A lot of guys. Some guys he did tricks, some guys he didn't. Some guys he, you know. But when you're dealing in a room with a snake, you have to keep the light on. People think because Bob is old that he's just an old dude. Yeah, he's an old dude, but he's like a vampire because he got to be old because he was sucking the blood off of all these young guys. Guys that are not even around anymore. Guys whose name is great in the ledger of boxing many times over. But he's still around, sucking the blood off of people. There's something to be said about that, man.
Yeah, that's why I can't stand to hear people speak highly of no Bob Arum. Act as Bob Arum is some go-to for anything of how the game is ran. Bob Arum's a crook, and he gets passes because he's old. Only thing I respect is seeing a guy that old with the ability to recollect things, but ain't nothing good about Bob Arum. There ain't no way I'm about to sit there and ish on what I see Al Heyman does. It ain't got nothing to do with just Al Heyman being black. It's just from the standpoint of seeing somebody do credible business and doing credible things by the way of the fighter. Now, do fights get made? Not all the time. Is he in the way of it? I don't think he is. I think a lot of these fighters are in the way of their own good. And and that's where the mistakes are made by these fools. Is you get these positions and these guys stand in the way of not wanting to fight each other. You got to challenge each other and fight. The fights have to get made. The legacies have to be built. The money will come. The money comes from making the fights that people want to see. The same thing we're talking about with the Zone. The Zone didn't put them things together regardless of how much money they thought they wanted to throw around. Ultimately, they destroyed themselves. These fighters have to understand. It ain't just about people throwing money at you, and this is what fans have to understand. And this is me just going into my business mind. And no business type person is going to throw money into just because you're a fighter, you get in that ring, you think you're drawing people to an arena and a stadium. Doesn't mean that the promoter is seeing the returns they want. They and anything like what is boxing and music are so closely related. There's a correlation between the two. You go with group sales. A group can go platinum, and they look at the sales. Only so far that from each album, from album to album, it's only so much a label is going to allow you to drop off in record sales before they terminate contracts. And then you're going to see, does anyone else wants to pick you up when you test the market? And this is the thing that a lot of these fighters miss. They don't pay attention to the numbers. You get some artists who can go through the industry and not make money early in their career, but then they begin to start learning these other side of things. They get to learn the background side of stuff, and they begin to put in the diligent work of learning these things and moving forward, be making themselves more, what is that? When you have like degrees, you make yourself more hireable or whatever it is, or more attractable for these different things, these different measures you have to hit. And these fighters ain't hitting. They just want the damn money, but they ain't putting in nothing. They have to understand, just because you see fans in the dang stadium and I sold out this fans, but what were the tickets selling for? These are some of the factors that you got to look at. What were the viewership numbers? And a lot of these fighters don't. They just want money, but ain't putting the efforts. And now these business people are putting the funding behind that because they need returns. They ain't just throwing checks around. They have to make money. And that's the thing that Eddie Hearn didn't learn. Eddie Hearn's just a real immature, silver spoon dude who didn't properly do his diligent work. And if he took business courses or whatever the heck his dad taught him, he probably was just a kid his dad paid off rather than making him go through courses and really learning business, understanding the markets, and also the behaviors of consumers. American consumers is different in the UK. We got all these different sports. Some people ain't attracted just because a fighter don't mean they like him. Just because he's from America don't mean they like him. Just because he's from an inner city don't mean people like him. Just because he dressed like that don't mean people like him. It takes a lot, and these fighters have to understand that they have to fight the fights people want to fight, and they have to perform in the way that people want to see entertainment. And if they don't do that, a promoter will let you sit on the shelf because it's going to be hard to you want this kind of money? Like, are you serious? Like, hell no. We'll let it marinate a little bit because you're not pulling in those numbers. Your sales have been declining. A lot of these people need to factor in that things are year to date, whatever it is, fight to fight, and they view that type of viewership in the numbers. And especially fighters don't do their own diligent work. They live in a social media era and refuse to engage with fans. I don't mean you have to sit there and answer every single question, but you have to make yourself accessible so people are entertained by you. It's no different than NFL teams. Whether those are team sports, but the franchises have to do enough to make their franchise appealing to people. The same thing with the Cowboys. The Cowboys are the appealing team to people all across America. It ain't even just in Texas. They have an appeal outside of that state. And they do the proper thing of marketing themselves. These fighters they come from these poor backgrounds, so they lack the understanding of that crap. And right now, promoters aren't promoters. Promoters are just financiers, and they ain't gonna finance nothing they ain't returning money on. And that's what fans have to understand. I get that, but I get it when Bob Arum has to do it, but Bob Arum is a snake. He'll snake the heck out of you at the same time of doing it. But that's my thoughts on that.
Man, you raised some great points, man. It's like I can't say anything, you know what I mean? Because I agree with you on that. It's just that these men have to learn how to look down the road, man. And so many other fighters, they don't do that. They look at what's right in front of them. You know, it's just like these guys who go out and get these homes and the material possessions. There's nothing wrong with wanting better for yourself. Nothing, absolutely nothing. But if you want generational wealth, you have to think beyond today. When Ed Hearn made Anthony Joshua turn down that $50 million guarantee from an opportunity to fight Wilder in a unification match that could bring an undisputed champion, he didn't make AJ turn that fight down because he thought AJ would lose. The $50 million guarantee was AJ's, not for Matchroom or Hearn. For AJ alone, $50 million is generational wealth. But by turning that fight down and possibly promising him something different to make it appear like he's going to take care of him in the long run, look at what has transpired since that time. Not only had he lost the title to someone that he unexpectedly lost to, he had to go to a foreign place to win it back for an astronomical purse that they said was the fight, you know, based on like $100 and something million, whatever. But how much of that did he really get, and how much of that did Matchroom really make because they had him make that decision? You see? living off of his blood when the only blood being shed is his blood. When Deontay Wilder made the offer for $50 million, after they said that's what would do it, right? Make the fight possible. They were questioning where Wilder got the $50 million from. Now, to our knowledge, he hadn't fought a fight where he brought in, huge multi-million-dollar paydays. We just knew that as a WBC champ, he was making a few million, off the top of your head. You figure he's making a few million, this fight, that fight, whatever. But if they were able to put up $50 million as a guarantee for AJ, that means that the man is well invested, regardless of what you think he made in his previous fights. He was well invested and capable of doing this. That's what people need to see. That's the lesson that needs to be taken from this. I don't know, Reggie. It's a conversation that we can continue to have. But let's move on and talk about the fights for tomorrow night, because I know that people want to hear what we have to say about it, and I did want to save that conversation for when you came on. So tomorrow night we've got Manny Pacquiao back in it, former WBA welterweight champion, taking on current WBA welterweight champion Yordenis Ugas, in a fight that Ugas is now replacing the injured Earl Spence Jr. and looking to defend the title that was awarded to he after Manny was stripped of the title due to Manny's inactivity and lack of defending. So let's talk about it, Reggie, and we can finish the show up with this particular subject, because it's an interesting fight. It's a fight that should have taken place before Spence and Pacquiao anyway, because that was the person that was lined up to fight Manny when he was the WBA champion. So it's funny that the boxing gods have turned this all around and brought us back to this point. What are your opening thoughts on this particular fight for tomorrow?
I think it's going to be an entertaining fight, man. I think you guys is going to come out here, going to give it his all. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for this dude. The opportunity of a lifetime for him. And also him being Cuban, this can be a historical opportunity of a lifetime, and especially being inside that ring against a legend like Manny Pacquiao. I know a lot of people speaking about that bicep thing. If you guys ain't complaining about it, I won't even bring it up. I think he's going to come out here and press the attack on Manny, because defeating Manny opens a lot of financial opportunities for you guys, who has been trying harder than any fighter to. When you really look at it, you guys has probably been trying harder than any fighter in that division to get to this position. And this position has fallen upon him like the next man up, because someone gets injured, next man up. And the fact that he comes in, you can look at him, see that he's ripped. I don't know if he had a fight or he was looking for someone else. He seems to always be in shape. Even when I've seen Ugas or ran into him in one of the stores out here or something, he seems to always be in shape. Don't see him being one of these dudes walking around heavy or any of that. So he's the next man up. It's the next man opportunity. And I think he's going to go forward. He ain't going to waste away this opportunity. But the thing that could happen is, do these lights become too bright for a hungry guy? And he gets here, Manny Pacquiao being here, this is just a normal stage for him. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Does you guys falters under that mental pressure there? Because he has come to a different peak stepping in here against Manny Pacquiao and the level. And he could come in here and be at home and go in there and just really put on the type of fights he's been putting on. Because he put on some very good fights. I think he's had some decisions that have gone against him that were wrong. It's tough for and then also kind of putting like they just tough on these Cubans out here. But I think this guy's going to fight a hard fight. I think he should have learned a lesson from the way he fought Sean Porter, which is a fight he could have won. But he was doing things, celebrating a little bit too much because he felt that he had arrived. But now because he's been putting in so much work. But now this opportunity, a lifetime falls in place. He wins that. He becomes one of these guys they can't avoid. He has the torch passed to him. Now does he go in there to where now he has Earl Spence on the table as well? If he can pull that off, he can go on a real historic run. And if Ugas has that in his mindset, he's gonna probably come out here and surprise and impress some people tomorrow. Or it could be the same old-fashioned Pacquiao go out there and spank him as well. But that's my thoughts with that.
Yeah, salute to my man Trick Nolte is out there in the chat. I see you out there, Trick Nolte. This fight, I really want to know where Ugas is with this bicep situation, because if it is an injury that he's going in handicapped, then once again, we're not going to see the best that the sport has to offer, even with this match, between these two men. And that's unfortunate, because I think that he has the type of boxing style that is definitely going to give Manny some issues. Ugas fights out of that traditional Cuban boxing style, orthodox. Whereas we've seen a number of southpaws, but he happens to be orthodox. And with that boxing style, Pacquiao's nemesis is the straight right hand down the pike. But will he be able to set things up properly if that left bicep isn't good? That may mean that he won't be able to snap the jab. He may not be able to block punches a certain kind of way, because if you get hit on that bicep, it's going to hurt. And Manny got popped. So look for some right hooks from Manny on that left arm. Matter of fact, Freddie Roach is probably telling him, you attack that arm before you attack his chin. Because if you can incapacitate the arm, you can get right in there to the chin. You've built the bridge to break through and get right at him. The lateral movement of Ugas is decent. He's the type of fighter that can step around and give you angles and box like that. He doesn't dance on his toes and all of that, but he's mobile. And he's agile. Pacquiao is a beat rhythmic fighter where he comes in on certain beats, and he's known to dive in and dash out and things like that. And he'll throw shots that'll carry him out. Like if he misses, he knows how to come out on the other side and things like that. So the 2-year layoff, will it be a factor in this fight? Possibly, but I'm sure that Freddie has brought in sparring partners that will push Manny in training for the conditioning that he'll need in a 12-round championship fight. Manny also has the experience of having been in with big name fighters, bigger fighters, and physical stature and things of that nature, which will assist him because of that experience. There's nothing that Ugas can do that he ain't seen before. Will, like you alluded to, the bright lights get to Ugas? Will he be able to settle down and focus in on the task at hand and be able to take the fight to Manny to the degree where he can win rounds decisively, We don't need those close rounds. Oh, who you get at to? I don't know. It's kind of close. He needs to be definitive in what he does out there. And if he gives Manny any type of steam early on, it's going to be an uphill battle for him, just like it was for Keith Thurman. The difference with Thurman is that in the later portion of the fight, when Manny started to get a little fatigued, and we don't know if that fatigue was age, inactivity because he had been off in the layoff before Thurman, or if it were just the result of, the fight that they were having. But Thurman was able to have a little bit of a rally later in the fight and close that distance. But Thurman is a pretty decent boxer himself, even though people noted him being a knockout puncher when he was coming up to the championship. But since he started fighting the class fighters at the top of the division, the knockouts were less, but his boxing picked up more. Ugas is going to have to show us something. The fact that he fought Sean Porter, who can emulate Manny Pacquiao and his style, is a feather in the cap for Ugas. But remember, their fight was close. The decision went to Porter. Many people thought that Ugas was victorious, but he wasn't decisive. And that's what he's going to have to do when he's in this fight with Manny. He's going to have to be decisive, because if Manny puts together a couple of combinations in a round, they're going to give him the round. Oh, he looked good. He looked great. That's the kind of thing, because he has earned that type of consideration from his accomplishments in the past. Even though that may not be happening presently in the fight, he'll get that type of consideration. Those are the type of things that your Dennis Ugas has to realize that he's up against. Prior to the proposed bicep injury, I was leaning toward he in favor, because I thought that he may be able to control Manny and do some things and fight hard, because I call him Hollywood Ugas, but he ain't quite there yet, and he wants some things in life, and this is an opportunity for him. But since that bicep situation has come into play, I don't know. I have to give the favor to Pacquiao if the man is injured. If he's not injured, and this is all a publicity stunt just to make more, heat on the fight and stuff like that, because, people will probably say, oh, Manny gonna smoke this dude. People that don't know who your Dennis Ugas is, that's who would be saying that. But if it turns out that was all a sham just to promote the fight and make the fight closer and stuff like that, I will lean with your Dennis Ugas. But if it is a true injury, Manny should be able to take total advantage of that. So, that's the way that I see it. You know what I mean? And it's not etched in stone. We have intangibles. Things can happen. Manny can get old overnight. It can happen. But that was the way that I see the fight and how I handicap it. So those are my thoughts on that, Reggie.
Yeah, and my last thought on this is, you guys cannot go in there playing. We've been seeing what these judges have been doing in boxing. He better stay awake in this fight and fight every single round, every second, until that bell ends around. He can't go in there playing.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, man. And we hope that everybody get a chance to tune in. Are you calling the fight tomorrow, Reg?
No, I got to go get a root canal tomorrow. I'm going to be decommissioned.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did say last week that was going to be something that you have to deal with. And it turns out that I will not have to work tomorrow, so I can check the fight out. I can do a post-fight. You may not be up for the post-fight, right, because of your dental appointment, right?
I got to see how I feel, man. I'm terrified, but if I feel good, I'll jump on.
I don't want you to press it, though. I really don't. So you can let me know with a text message and just let me know how you feeling, and we'll play. I still will do a post fight. I might end up trying to stream this thing because I'm not ordering it. But yeah. But nonetheless, I'll listen to a call. If you're not able to call it, I'll listen to the brother KQ, or something like that, and just But I will do a post fight on it. So, and let's give a quick thought, Reg. Victor Ortiz and Robert Guerrero are fighting on the undercard now. So this will be like just before the main event. What are your thoughts there?
Man, I'm shocked to see that they called them out, man. I didn't know they was on this card, but hey, it's a good thing, man. That's what happens when you I guess you put on the fights that have thrilled people and fans will be willing to watch it. I guess these dudes past prime fighters are able to go in here and fight, past glory. This one, I don't know if Guerrero gonna go in there and bang like Ortiz tries to go out there. Ortiz tries to go out there and give it his all. But they are past their prime. I think if Ortiz ain't able to do anything, establish something within the first 2 or 3 rounds, he gonna get beat on. So Guerrero may get caught with something, but if Guerrero's able to withstand, I think that early fire that Ortiz gonna be put out, if he can withstand that, don't get dropped or knocked out himself, I got him stopping Ortiz, because Ortiz got a little quit in him once he gets to fatigue setting in.
Yeah, good call, because if the going gets tough, and we do know that Guerrero is tough, and his dad is quite a character, but if the going gets tough, Ortiz may not be up for that. He's a little Hollywood himself now, but in a different sense than Ugas. He really think he's an actor and a performer and everything now. So he better be ready to fight, not perform tomorrow night, because Guerrero, the ghost, is going to come for him. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna do everything he can to try to bring that dog. And I don't mean dog as in warrior. I mean dog as in mutt out of Victor Ortiz. So I think it'll be an interesting fight for as long as it lasts, but I favor Guerrero. I favor him. So those are my thoughts on that. We'll have to wait and see what the end result is, but yeah, I look forward to that being the type of fight that you you want to see some fists fly, and you're going to see that in that fight tomorrow night. So, yeah, interesting. But, I have something I wanted to share, Reggie, before we sign off with your final thoughts and everything. But it just shows that, Stormy be out here trying to find different things to entertain with, and this one here was a gem, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. So forgive me, I'm laughing already, but Reggie, you might have seen this before because it's old, it's not new, but check this out, man. Just keep your eye on the Jumbotron behind me there. Check this out.
The words of the 80-year-old homeowner who confronted 2 robbers.
I walked in on them, and they downed me. They jumped on me in the hallway.
But Tom Greer says he managed to get his .22 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. He says when that unarmed couple saw his gun, they took off out the back door, and he followed.
The lady didn't run fast as a man, so I shot her in the back twice. She's dead, and it's all her off, but he got away. She says, "Don't shoot me, I'm pregnant with a baby," and I shot her anyway.
Had you ever seen that?
No, I'm listening to it right now. He shot the pregnant woman.
They were trying to rob him, and they broke into his home. And if you listen to him talk about it, he said they tried to take me down, you know, and then when he went to get his gun, they tried to run when they saw the gun. So he was shooting at him. He shot her twice in the back because she couldn't run as fast as the guy, he said. And the guy got away, but when he got to her and she was like, please don't shoot me, I'm pregnant or whatever. And dude was like, I shot her anyway. But anyway, I'm going to play it one more time for you guys. But please check this out, man. This is wild. This is absolutely wild.
The words of the 80-year-old homeowner who confronted two robbers.
I walked in on them, and they downed me. They jumped on me in the hallway.
But Tom Greer says he managed to get his .22 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. He says when that unarmed couple saw his gun, they took off out the back door, and he followed.
The lady didn't run fast as a man, so I shot her in the back twice. She's dead, and they told her off, but he got away. She says, don't shoot me, I'm pregnant with a baby, and I shot her anyway.
Pops was like Dirty Harry. Get
them old folks don't give a damn.
Pops was like Dirty Harry, man. He wasn't playing, Reggie. He wasn't playing. Hey, listen, y'all better stop messing with these old people, man. Old people ain't got no time. You know what I mean? They trying to live out their days in peace. You out there trying to break in their house and stuff. You deserve every bullet. Yes, they all had your name on them. You know? And she is a pregnant female trying to assist breaking and entering. She got exactly the Thanos treatment, perfectly balanced. He got away for a minute, but she lost her life. And now he's in jail, the other dude. And the old man ain't gone to jail. So that's it right there. But, yeah, I just wanted to share that. I might keep that in the rotation, too, because that part where he says, I shot her anyway, that was hilarious to me. I laugh every time I hear him say it. But go ahead and give us some final thoughts, Reggie.
Yeah. Y'all can catch me on y'all can catch me on both my main and backup channel, Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens. But I'll catch you guys on the next one, and prosper on the post fight, man. Hopefully this mess ain't painful, man, but I'll see you guys.
And I'll tell you, man, y'all better leave them old folks alone. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like, because there may be something with your name on it. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night after the fights with a post-fight show. Got a feeling that Guerrero Ortiz matchup might be something worth talking about tomorrow night. We may get some entertainment there, even if it's something that's foul play or whatever. But great show, Reggie. Thanks for being here with us this evening. Get yourself some rest. Get prepared for that man that's going to be drilling in your mouth tomorrow, because, oh, man, that's something. But I feel for you, but I ain't going to stand in for you. You got to do it yourself, bro. You got to do that one yourself. But, yeah, I hope it all goes well for you, man, and everything is good. But it's been a great show. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that was out there. Thank you, everyone that gave a super chat. My channel members that joined this evening, thank you for that. And thank you guys for the well wishes for the brother Curtis Anderson, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar, the historian. He needs your prayers. Please hold him fast with that. And we will catch you guys tomorrow night on the post-fight show. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Central, I got In the Eye of the Storm with Divine Sense Boxing. He'll be on there with me tomorrow morning. I haven't done the In the Eye of the Storm in a minute. And that's who is bringing it back with us tomorrow. And we'll have a great show, so be looking out for that in the morning as well. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and have a wonderful weekend.
Peace.